We got the last one mounted. Got these boards shimmed out, so you can see we got about ½ an inch or so space, and it's the same on both sides. Just a little space right there, and it's all the same on the other side. This is Gordon. I'm going to start another project today on my boat. We had a terrible time getting this thing back on the trailer last time we had it out at night. We just had a lot of stuff in the boat, some extra weight, and this trailer never was set up properly. The boat just sits, gosh, it sits too high on the trailer, and it was way too much in the front. And you had to back the tow vehicle down into the water, and you had to get out and get your feet wet and climb in the boat, or back somebody else in the boat all the way down into the water, let them drive it off. But the trailer had to be so far in the water. I moved this winch thing back about a foot. This mark here is where it was mounted. I moved it back here, and I adjusted the height of this thing to fit good with that. So moving it back about a foot helps. The trailer might even be short for what it was originally designed for, because now these straps are at an angle. I'm going to try to shim these boards out a little closer, give myself about ½ an inch where they just snugly fit on both sides. First thing I need to do is get a good measurement of the thickness of that beam. It's right at 3 inches, 2 inches wide. And looking at this, I'm going to say 1.5 inches, but I'm going to measure it. It's 1.5. Our 3 inches plus our 1.5 inches plus our bottom plate, we're going to say a minimum of 5 inches for the U-clamp. I'm going to need more than 5.5. That's only going to give me, after the bottom plate, about 1/4 inch of thread, so we'll see 6.5. We've got catty-cornered here. We got a minimum of 2 inches of an ID pipe to go on that. I got a piece of 2-inch PVC drain pipe here that fits like a glove on that. These edges are a little bit rough, they need to be trimmed, and it still slides right over that and goes right on down, and very little slop and play. That'll roll on there. So that'll be a perfect cover for this. 78 3/4. I got to figure out how high I want it now. 30 inches with it on the trailer. We're going to need it higher than that because the trailer's going to be underwater. We will go with, we'll just go with 4 feet. I'm going to weld those over the front of this. So that 4 feet, we'll add 1.5 inches to it. So we'll make it 49.5 inches on both upright pieces, because I just want to cover the end of this off. Cover it like that. I'm going to weld that completely closed. I don't want any water getting inside of that at all. That'll be fine. Weld that completely closed, and this one on the outside will be hollow, so it won't hold any water. Water will drain right out the bottom of it. Once again, take your vice grips. In this case, it's just a vice grip clamp, but I twisted it and it breaks through the black stuff on the metal there. We're going to use my 110-volt wire feed MIG welder. I'm going to just do a tack here. Try to make sure everything is squared up good. And then we'll check it for square. And I want it a little more square than that. I got a piece of scrap here. It looks like about 3/16 of an inch. 5 inches, a little over 5 1/8 inches. Go clean this up on the grinder a little bit. Got my gussets made, all ground down, cleaned up, smoothed down, shaped, ready to install. We got it welded up. Measurements come out good, 82 inches across the top and the bottom, nothing warped. One thing I didn't do good, I didn't plan something out, I'm going to have to improvise. I don't have a good place for this to sit, so I'm going to have to put a flat spot around here someplace for this to sit on. I'll probably just take a couple of pieces of something flat and just put them one on each side here, like that. Let it sit on those. This is where I'm going to mount that post, and I got to make these brackets, one top and one bottom, one for each side. I wanted to use U-bolts, but to get them the right size and the right shape, they were going to be kind of like special order. It's going to be like 10 bucks a piece, and I was going to need like what, 4 of them, so that's 40 bucks. And then next time something goes wrong and I got to replace them, it's special order again. So I thought I'll just use straight bolts, and I'll have to hand make these brackets. And so I'm getting ready to make another one. I made 2, as you just saw, and I wasn't doing the video, but I am now just a little bit. I put this one up here and just hit it with a coat of spray paint, and I'm going to use that as a quick template to cut. I got to cut 2 more of these out. I'm going to spray these pieces, because they are used, old, pitted, rusty metal. I ground them down, smoothed them out pretty clean, but they got a long ways to go. They're still full of pits and rust. So this is, I guess, a copy of that stuff they call Extend, that I think is made by Permatex. This is Rust Converter, clean strip Rust Converter. It's the same thing as that Extend, and I'm going to put a coat of this on there. Smells the same as that Extend. If it turns purple, then I'll know it's the same thing. I have to wait for that to dry for a little while and then turn it over. Sprayed this thing here with that rust stuff too, that product that seals rust and turns it into a primer that you can paint on. I sealed that thing up with it, that bar that we're going to put underneath. The directions say to wait 24 hours before top coating. I'm going to try to cheat and get away with it. It is warm out, so I'm hoping that the warm weather will, I'm going to cut that time in half, and I'll paint it sometime in the morning. Some stuff I picked up at the local store. Self-etching primers, usually better than the regular. Since I'm not going to cap the ends of this thing, it's upside down. This is the end that'll be in the water when the trailer goes down in the water. I'm just going to spray down inside there pretty good ways, holding it off the end was on the floor, but I'm holding it up so that it goes out the bottom. The next guide I'm going to make, the front one's already made. The paint is drying on it. We'll put it on later after the paint dries. This one is going to mount right here, and it has got a little bit of an angle cut on the bottom of this pipe here, and the reason why, because when the trailer is down in the water, it's going to stand a lot closer to straight up depending on the angle of the ramp. And if I put it on straight, it's going to wind up way back here where it's going to be a little bit out of reach for me in the driver's seat. I have to reach behind me. So I'm going to do it like this, cut these two pieces out here at 45-degree angles. Of course, we will gusset this across here to give it a little extra support. Weld it onto this to bolt it straight down through this piece over here, because with the fender coming down at an angle, we won't be able to bolt it on back here, so we'll just have to put a little piece out here. And I might just run a bolt hole right through the top of this and out the bottom and bolt one straight through there. I love this little piece of channel iron that I found somewhere. It makes a perfect welding table for most small jobs. So I got a square sitting on the table. We'll clamp this piece down here. And if I had high dollar equipment, I wouldn't have to square it up a second time. It would already be square just by cutting it. So we're going to square this up with two clamps. Another thing I'm going to do to help me get the boat on the trailer is shim this out with a piece of green lumber, treated lumber. I'm going to take this off and put a piece of lumber about the same size, 2x4, between this and where this bolts down on. Have to drill the holes right through the piece I'm putting on there. That'll put this one maybe half an inch away from the boat in the front and maybe an inch away from it in the back. And it'll be the same on both sides, so that'll snug that up just a little bit, almost touching it. Here we are, gluing the caps on the ends of the pipes. Put one more on the other side. We got the last one mounted. This one sits at an angle because it'll stand more or less straight up when the trailer's down in the water down like this and the boat's sitting there. It'll make that stand straight up more. It'll be out there in front of me a little bit when I'm sitting in the driver's seat, so I can just grab a hold of it to help guide me in. Of course, that's the plastic pipe that's going to sit on top of it like the other ones. I think we're all done. Got these boards shimmed out, so you can see we got about half an inch or so space, and it's the same on both sides. Just a little space right there. Our spacing down here is good. Our spacing up there is good. Everything is good underneath. I think this boat is ready to go on and off the trailer a whole lot better than it was when I bought it new. All right, thank you for watching.